My name is Juan Sifuentes. I'm currently the commander for the Hidalgo County Criminal District Attorney's Office, HIDTA Task Force. HIDTA stands for High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area. Currently, we're our main office in Alamo, Texas. The dramatic changes from the beginning of my narcotics career in the early 2000s, we were seizing thousands of pounds of marijuana, and you're talking about large bundles. That's what the local cartels were doing at the time. Most of the time, the concealment methods were via tractor trailers. And we would do interdiction traffic stops. We would do joint operations with CBP, U.S. Border Patrol, DPS, DEA, and other federal agencies. Moving forward to 2025, the current drug trends, of course, have changed to pills, THC, edibles, an increase in meth seizures. That's what we're seeing today. Social media is also a big dilemma that we're dealing with in reference to our investigation. That's new to us, but we're trying to combat that problem as well. We're blessed to have a great support system from our leaders, current leaders. Our district attorney, our chief, support us to do the enforcement operations that we do on a daily basis. We're a small unit. They do a great job with undercover operations, identifying the current drug threat in the cartels that are operating within our county, in Hidalgo County. How do we combat that? We do multiple operations via surveillance, via undercover operations, even interdiction efforts that we do with different shipping companies in the Rio Grande Valley. Once again, they try to do their best to avoid detection, but we have great partnerships to include the Hidalgo County constable offices from Precinct 3 and Precinct 4 and Precinct 1. We have deputy constables with canines, which is an additional resource for us, and they have great canines that will interdict these loads for us as well. Without our partners, local, state, and federal, we couldn't do our job. Going back to our district attorney, and since when he started as our DA, that was his number one focus for us, to keep that great relationship that we have, especially with the federal agencies. Sometimes when we do an enforcement operation, you will see different uniforms, different patches, like you said, but it's needed. Like we might be working something that we started as a street level investigation and we developed to a cartel linked to a significant target. And that's when we get assistance from our federal partners. It could be IRS, it could be U.S. Postal Inspectors. It all depends where the case is going. But like you just said, we're blessed that we can pick up our phone and call anybody by first name basis, and they're willing to help. Vice versa, when they call us, we have to help as well. I believe having that great partnership, and I'll use U.S. Border Patrol and CBP because they do a great job when they process these individuals that are detained and they identify them. In certain circumstances, certain cases, when we're working a case, we'll execute search warrants on properties and we go in there and we detain everybody. They give us their verbal name and date of birth, which could be fictitious, and it's happened in the past where we executed a arrest warrant with the U.S. Marshals, and the individual that we apprehended, he gave us a fake name when we took him to U.S. Border Patrol. And it's always a distance. You know, we don't have the tools or the resources to fingerprint somebody at the scene, so we have to go to the closest Border Patrol station to assist us on fingerprinting that individual. They run them through their system. And once they determine who we are, in that case, that individual was wanted for murder out of Florida. So sometimes it depends on the tools. We're blessed that South Texas HIDTA, our parent agency out of San Antonio, recently gave us different tools that help us. The portable X-ray machine is one. The field testing device to minimize the exposure of my agents. Now we can test the substance on the field and determine if it has fentanyl or if it's positive for cocaine or heroin. Imagine a huge facility, commercial facility for hundreds of trucks to go in there and pick up produce. Legitimate company, they're moving dope. I mean, produce and narcotics as well, concealed. So my job is to identify the company. So I identify the truck with the assistance of our partners with Border Patrol at the checkpoints. They checked the truck and it was negative. Okay, so weeks go by, get another call from an anonymous person, same person. Hey, truck's supposed to go out today and it might have drugs. So same thing, you know, I try to go out there, try to find the truck. We contact Border Patrol, they stopped it at the checkpoint. So we're expecting a drug load, and in reality ended up being 20 plus persons in there. So our drug cases, we've encountered a lot of undocumented persons as well. At that point, it becomes a rescue mission for us, you know, because we wouldn't have let the truck move an inch, we would have known there was people in there. Because that's happened in the past. So we get the information that there's undocumented persons, and we do an enforcement operation right there at that location to rescue these people, because we don't know how long have they been in that enclosed trailer. The temperatures in summer are so hot here in the Rio Grande Valley that our job is to save those people. And of course, then due process if they don't have status. We turn the case over to HSI or Border Patrol. In reference to our community engagement, talking to different citizens, I was given the opportunity and the support of South Texas HIDTA and our district attorney to continue doing in prevention efforts. That's my exposure to the community. We do multiple events with the Prevention and Awareness Team of Hidalgo County. It's a group that we created back in 2018. Talking to the community, especially when I get invited to do presentations at schools with parents, once we show them the current drug trends, and I'm very blessed to have a great team that our job is to identify what's impacting us today. What drug, what's the method of being purchased, how are they recruiting our kids to transport or smuggle drugs. So once we identify all that, my job is to educate the parents as well, because they're all great people. They're working, they're so busy working 8, 12-hour shifts. And when schools invite me to a parent engagement meeting, especially after hours, that's when I get to communicate with them. Mostly Spanish-speaking parents. I've done presentations in Spanish. And to them, it's an eye-opener because they know there's a problem, but they didn't know it was to that extent. Especially when each of their children have a phone. And in that phone, they have access to multiple social media sites. The initiative is called Operation RGV Guardian, Combating Online and App Drug Dealers. And that's what it is. We have different individuals involved in the selling and recruitment of drugs using social media, Instagram, Telegram, Snapchat. They use different sites to basically offer the drugs for sale. And our job is try to infiltrate it and try to identify those dealers and go after them. I'm always asked, how do you all exist? A lot of people think that we're a federal agency and we report specifically, especially in reference to the funding. And to make people aware, we're a local HIDTA drug task force, part of the district attorney's office, but we're under a federal grant. The grant pays part of our salaries and the other part is asset forfeiture. Like you mentioned, this home that we were at, we were blessed a couple years ago that we had working a partnership case with DEA and resulted in the seizure of this property. And it was linked to an ongoing federal investigation. Once the property gets awarded to us, we file state forfeiture for it. We put it to auction, and those funds, once we sell the property, comes back to our salaries. So everything that we utilize in reference to our funding, grant, and asset forfeiture driven, we don't get any tax dollars to do our job. In reference to this property, before we used to be in a smaller building, there was a couple of concerns that we had, and we outgrew the office. We were given the opportunity to come to this property, which is a significant large property that allows us to do our job more efficiently. And we're blessed that it's so big that now we can do operational briefings, especially when we do big cases where our federal partners that multiple agencies work with us. So we get a brief for the operation, and this building allows it. We do some undercover work, so it allows us to secure our vehicles here as well. So the building itself has allowed us to expand our ability to do more, and it's secured. And it meets the needs for our agency. And ultimate goal is always to identify those drug trafficking organizations to dismantle them in Hidalgo County. The Students Helping Students, that was the title for their presentation. And I can share the PowerPoint with you all. They did a great job. So imagine a group of high school students. It was a service learning project. To me, to pass the word from a student to a student, it's awesome because they'll hear each other. They have the same problems, they have the same concerns, the same stressors, because they want to, if they're in their studies and they help each other not to relieve their stress or their mental health and their concerns to try to, let me vape, let me take this pill. Basically, a student will tell another student, don't do it because these are the legal consequences, this can help you affect your health. So basically, they were like the coordinators of the conference. I was one of their presenters, and then we did a lot of role playing as well. To educate them in reference to the drug trends. And at the time, it was like a rough draft juvenile justice jeopardy game. That's something that we implemented with the assistance of South Texas HIDTA. It's actually getting implemented this year. The juvenile justice jeopardy game, just imagine an online game. It all started with San Antonio PD, and I commend them because they're the only other agency in the state of Texas that is using this game to interact with students at schools. It serves for the purpose for prevention, educate them in reference to safety, the current drug trends. So it's like a Jeopardy game where two groups of students are competing for point systems, but at the same time they're learning. And going back to the event that we did with a local school here with JR2C, Students Helping Students, that's the best way to pass a word. So we're hoping they do it again because it was a very positive engagement with the students. And I'll share with you all, they got close to 100. They presented to the school board. The school board was so impressed with their work. For students to, because they're shy and embarrassed, that's the first time that they get to interact to their peers, but they did a great job. And that was something driven to Gerald to see in there. Several years ago, when I started law enforcement, to me it was important to have some type of legal representation if it was needed. And I was blessed to be part of Tmpa. I've been a long-term member, and actually the state representative for our region, Mr. J.P. Rodriguez, was my partner when I started a local agency at Weslaco Police Department. We were blessed that we started also in the prevention aspect of it, doing community policing at the city of Weslaco. We actually had to share the McGruff suit day in and out, so he would do the presentation, it was my turn. So it was a great networking, great relationship. We got the job done. Similar to what we do here as an enforcement unit for the HIDTA Task Force. We have different patches doing the same job. Our goal to identify those drug trafficking organizations. The stresses that we have to do our job they're enormous because we make decisions within seconds. For me, if something occurs and is critical in situation, officer-involved shooting or anything, for me to be able to pick up the phone and have that great relationship with a Tmpa representative here by first name basis is great. Peace of mind, he knows the stress level that we have having that experience as a law enforcement officer, everybody at Tmpa. So once they answer the phone and they reassure you, we're here to help you, it means a lot. And to me, it's just, if I ever encounter that in the future, to pick up the line and being able to talk to JP or somebody else from the attorneys from Tmpa, it helps to feel comfortable to make that call for help.